you doing, sir? Good. Can we talk to you? Where are you from? Do you live in New York?
Who are you?
Don Lemon.
You're a fucking moron, dude.
Thank you. So are you.
Yeah, that's very nice of you to say.
Nice to see you.
Except you've never heard anything I've had to say, and I've heard a whole bunch of what you've
I'm glad you watched me.
No, I don't.
Why?
But you just get clipped everywhere.
I know, but why don't you? You said you don't watch me, but yet you know who I am, and I get clipped.
Before I realized that CNN and MSNBC were full of shit, every once in a while I'd see
What do you watch?
Talking. I watch all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, but why do you say CNN and MSNBC are full of shit?
Because they lie.
About what? Be
Everything.
specific. What's everything?
Everything.
You say that, but you have no examples. Give me some examples.
Well, they lie about genocide.
What do you
They
mean?
lie about all wars.
They're not lying about genocide. They're reporting. Hold on, let me finish. One thing at a time. One thing at a time.
Don't tell me what
One
I
thing at
can
a time.
speak.
One thing at a time. So we
What I
can.
can speak.
So they
Let's give it up for that guy. Sorry for the language, but it was too good. Hi, guys. Good morning, pineapples. Looking very good and very nice. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. It's Tuesday, September the 9th. We got a pack lineup this morning that is going to take you from the streets of Charlotte to the halls of Congress, all the way down to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Strap in. Drew Van Runklequist fanning Bruce Birtwhistle, Dad Bod Baboon. They know the drill. What do? They press that like button. They lick that like button, and then they click it. Maybe you should click it before you lick it. You've got to click it before you stick it. You've got to get it hot and wet before you get it. Good morning, good morning. Our top story today is brutal, heartbreaking, and infuriating. A young Ukrainian refugee, Iryna Zarutska, stabbed to death on a Charlotte light rail by a repeat violent felon who should have been locked up years ago. This is a story of failed judges, failed mayors, and failed priorities in blue cities. Democrats are officially the party of crime. President Trump says we have to confront evil. Elon Musk says we need expedited death sentences. Not sure about that. But Charlotte's mayor is hiding now behind safety nets. Governor Josh Stein mumbles more cops. We'll break it all down in our first segment this morning. It's such a big story that we have to cover it twice. It's 7:30 a.m. Central Time today. We're going to shift gears. We're going to talk about family law and a fight that touches millions of Americans. This is a story I was going to talk about with you yesterday. I was going to do it by myself, but you know what I thought? You know what? Let's get somebody in here who's an expert on this one. Just so happens that I know somebody who is an expert, fellow Missourian. Guy's name is Mark Ludwig. And he founded a group called Americans for Equal Shared Parenting. He's pushing for a national 50-50 custody standard, and he's meeting with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, no more than 2 hours after he's going to be on our show this morning. So we're going to get a preview for the conversation that he's going to have with Speaker Mike Johnson. We're the only news outlet covering this story in the morning. We've got the biggest guest on the biggest story of it's going to be one of those stories that they're going to show later today on the legacy media and be like, breaking news, KMC, BC 9 News. And you're going to be like, Psh, I saw that on the Wake Up America show this morning. And look, they even got the number one guest before the story happens. That's why you watch the Wake Up America show, so you know what they're going to say on the news tomorrow. Kentucky saw a divorce rate drop when they implemented this. It's fantastic news, and you're only going to get it here on the Wake Up America show until they talk about it a day later on your other shows. At 8 o'clock this morning, it is Tuesday after all, so that means my friend Camellia Peterson, she's a very rare Camellia, but she doesn't make herself scarce for us. She joins us Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. Central. And she's going to unpack a fascinating new poll from NBC on Generation Z. The divide between men and women is stunning. Trump voting men say that success for them is about kids, marriage, and financial independence. Harris voting women say it's career, money, and emotional stability. Jesus. I've had to lecture my big gay brother recently on dealing with women. Sometimes I, as a straight man, having experience with women, will have conversations with gay men who avoid women because they were the original misogynists. Back when in the old days of Greece, when they thought that women were deformed men. Misogynists. I have to explain to them, I'm like, all right, you stop using logic. You just don't, you need to stop trying to like explain. Here's my gay friends. And it's like a conversation that straight men all know, right? Is that at some point, you're not offering advice. You stop looking at, using AI to look up facts and statistics to try and prove them wrong. They don't care. They just want to emote in your general direction. Emotional stability. Shut up. 8:30 this morning, I'm closing with a special urgent message to Javier Milei and the people of Argentina. He's facing electoral setbacks and a market panic. Critics say that his pro-freedom experiment is failing. I say nonsense. Churchill told Britain, if you're going through hell, keep going. And that's exactly what Argentina must do. You don't want to miss my Churchill-style address at the end of this show today. Now, you know how we do it here. Bonus content is on the line today at $75 in Rumble Rants, or like our friend Dad Bod Baboon just gave. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you getting it started. Let's get it started. Let's get retarded in here. At $75, we unlocked today's mini documentary, and it's a good one. I used a biblical style of art for today's mini documentary. So check that out. At $75, you get to watch that instead of commercials, which is way more fun, although our commercials are also fun. But at $100 today, I'm really proud of this one. That's when Breakfast Theater comes alive. Today's sketch, you guys have seen the viral story. The Phillies fan who screamed at a 10-year-old boy until he handed over his birthday baseball. That's right. We have booked the real Phillies Karen to join us right here on the Wake Up America show today. She's got her side of the story. The whole country has been looking for this chick. Stephanie had never heard of it because she's been dealing with a sick dog for the last day and a half, so she hasn't been able to follow the news. But I was trying to tell the story to Phillies Karen last night. She's like, who are you having the show tomorrow? I'm like, the Phillies Karen. Yeah. She's like, who's the Phillies Karen? I was like, the whole country's looking for her. She's like, they haven't found her yet? They haven't, but we have. We've got her on the show today, but you gotta pay me. You want it? Pay me. F you, pay me. You want it? You want the Phillies Karen? F you, pay me. We've got her on the show today, but only if we hit $100. My recommendation is that you guys take the AI course. One shot it. If you haven't bought the AI course today, you got to do it, guys. Especially if you are planning on working for the next 20, 30 years. Do you plan on having a job? I don't care what it is that you do. You will benefit from learning how to use AI now. Getting in on the ground floor of this new technology. It is a revolution. It is happening right now. Did you miss the tech revolution of the 90s? Did you the digital age, rise of the digital age? Did you miss all the investments? Did you miss all those opportunities? Did you miss Bitcoin? Don't miss AI, guys. For $150, you not only do you get all the amazing content and our first live class that we had yesterday, which is already uploaded and on the Liberty Shop, available for those who have purchased it to watch. But you also one-shot unlock the bonus content here on the show. Where do I find the course, Austin? At the Liberty Shop or the Griff Shop, whichever you like to call it, for libertyshop.com. Did you guys see that I made Occupy Democrats Facebook page? No, they're like, Austin, you've been owned. Your shoe business is going down from tariffs. Yeah, but they don't know what I know, bro, that you can own more than one business, and the shoes are still for sale. Besides, rich people don't pay taxes. We just pass the cost on to the customer. Raise my taxes? Ha! I raise your prices. You evil capitalist, Austin. We'll get him next time. Free markets are more powerful. I just want to emote in your general direction, my precious, says St. Selma. Make sure you guys are clicking that like button, and that you, if you are a first-time watcher and you're not completely offended and turned off by my hat and my behavior in the language, then click the follow button as well. What do you say, sir? What do you say? It's too late to apologize, so don't go anywhere. This is the scrappiest, most active Liberty show in the nation, and it starts right now. Good morning, America. It's Tuesday, September 9th. You are listening to the Wake Up America show. Let's dive right in. This story is too big, it's too tragic, and it's too telling of where we are as a country. A 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, Iryna Zarutska, rides the light rail in Charlotte, North Carolina. She's got her headphones on. She's probably texting her friends, thinking about her next shift at the pizza parlor where she works. She fled a war to find peace. Instead, she found America's urban chaos. A man with a long criminal history, armed robbery, breaking and entering, larceny, walks up and stabs her in the neck for nothing, for evil. That's the story. But the bigger story is what comes after. This guy, DeCarlos Brown Jr., he was no mystery man. He has been in the system for years. He was arrested as recently as January of this year for abusing 911 calls while raving about mind control. He was released on a written promise to appear. Let me write it down. Let me see. I promise that I will appear in court, blah, blah, blah. Who in their right mind looks at a schizophrenic, repeat felon and says, you know what? You know what'll keep him straight? If he has to pinky swear. So what do the politicians say? The people who are responsible for this. Charlotte's mayor, Vi Lyles, she wanted the video of the stabbing children. She said it was about respect for the family. It was actually about protecting herself. They didn't want this video to get out. You got to know that the corruption goes to the highest level in these Democrat-run hellholes. And so this is what I predict. The body cams, the cameras in public transportation, the Democrats are going to try and make them go away. You know that it's true. They advocated for years, Democrats and libertarians like myself, advocated for body cameras for police, saying that it would increase accountability. And guess what? It did increase accountability. Now the accountability is going to where we're seeing where the problems are really coming. And it's because of the outrageous anti-American behavior from Democrat judges and Democrat politicians who own this crisis lock, stock, and one pocket knife in the pocket. It is a damn shame that people like Iryna Zarutska come to the United States and they don't know the unspoken rules of public transportation. What do you do when you get on a train in an unfamiliar city? What do? Do you turn your back on people? I don't know about the ladies in there, or maybe the people who are a little bit younger and you haven't been, experienced life perhaps in a big city. But let me tell you, as a man who lived in a big city for enough years, ride enough scary trains at night, and that is that you always sit with your back facing the wall, with your eye on the exit and the entrance, and you keep an eye on the whole train for all of the people who are on the train, because any one of them might be out of their mind. As a matter of fact, God, there is a video that I took myself in New York City on a train, and it's there on YouTube. If I had been thinking about it, I would have been pulled it up. But just your average interaction of on YouTube. You know what? Stand by, guys. I'm going to grab this video. There it is. Dude, I took this video 18 years ago in New York City. I'm getting old. Look at this. This is what you deal with in the streets. Just stand there screaming. Here it is. And you know what? It's been 18 years. I still remember what the guy smells like. Leave my people alone.
Get out.
Start screaming at people
Get the fuck out.
Just screaming at people's faces.
Stop the bullshit.
Get out, get the F out.
No one I'll beat you up.
And then
shut up.
You trying to hit my mouth? So I gotta shut up? So who is you?
Get out and go to
No one
yeah, see, that was my
You
girlfriend at the
trying to
time, Christina, and she's like, let's get out and go to the next one. Guess whose job it was to protect her? Thank you, Quest. And thank you, Andy. And he says, AI magic it's real. It's here. Become a wizard or be ruled by them. AP is taking apprentices. Absolutely. Damn straight. Tell him, Andy. Let him know how the class went yesterday. This is... Can we just get out and go to the next one? That's Christina. Hold on. I think I get a video of her. There, look, she's not happy. She wants to get out. But if we want to get out of the train, then we have to go by the stinky homeless guy. We might actually touch him. We might get infected with whatever diseases this guy might be carrying. Okay, here we go. So I decide I want to get a better angle because it's 18 years ago and I'm at this point, what am I, 24, 25 years old? I'm 44 now, so.
Stay clear, please. Do not hold the doors. Stay clear.
I think a fight's going to break out at any second. I'm going to get an amazing clip. There's Christina. She is not happy with me. Look at her. No. She's like, stop it, Austin. I've been in trouble all my life. Well, not all my life. I was a good Christian boy until 18 years old. What happened? We're glad to have all of our friends here joining us live on the Wake Up America show. And thank you very much for all of the donations that you've been making this morning to unlock that sweet, sweet bonus content. Quest Fanning says there are unfortunately many laws in place to protect from liability elected officials, judges, and bureaucrats. Their oath to uphold the Constitution should negate those protections. Tend to agree, Quest. And thank you for your generous contribution. Now we have another 15. That means we're at $25 raised already. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. You guys want to see the Philly Karen, don't you? Shadow Collector says the endless propaganda to say blacks are homeless isn't about protecting blacks. It's about getting women to lower their guard and criticize men who suggest otherwise. I would love to hear you expand on that, Shadow Collector. I think I get where you're going, but I feel like there's a missing piece to what you're saying. Good morning, Jimmy, Joe, Patty, all of our friends here joining us on the live Wake Up America show. So Governor Josh Stein says we need more cops on the beat. Okay, fair enough. True. Absolutely. We definitely need more cops on the beat. But let's be honest. Cops can't do anything if judges treat felonies like they treat jaywalking. When you have more serious crimes, if you take them in, the judges are letting them out, then the problem is not necessarily the presence of police officers. I actually agreed with, get this, Jasmine Crockett to a certain extent of what she was saying. The Republicans were attacking her for saying this, and we definitely don't mean this in the same way. But take a listen to what Jasmine Crockett had to say about more police and police on the streets, and what the role of police officers are, excuse me.
I want to be clear that law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime. Okay. That is what they're supposed to do. They are supposed to solve crimes, not necessarily prevent them from happening per se.
Republicans are mad at her about that. If you stop and think about it, it's true. It's the same sentiment that we say when we talk about why we have the Second Amendment in this country. Remember that old catchphrase, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away. This is our argument for why we need to be able to carry, which is why people should be allowed to open and concealed carry on the streets of New York City. I want machine guns in Manhattan. That's the fight that we should be fighting with these people. But unfortunately, because we have such weak in the knees Republicans, no spines, no balls, they won't fight for machine guns in Manhattan. They'll say, oh, Austin, you're just so extreme. It's too radical. And you know what? Sadly, they may also be right, because the American people are weenies. Weenies. We are weenies. Go ahead. Vivek Ramaswamy, me. You watch that father of the Phillies game give that ball back to the Phillies Karen. You saw him sugar his hand. Like, where are the men? When the men do stand up, when the rare few men, good men do stand up, what do? They get treated like Daniel Penny. The fullest extent of the law placed on the white Marine, served his country, protected other passengers on the train. Those are the enemy in society. Well, I say, hell no. It's time for men to be men and stand up to be men. And for us to face the consequences in the short term of being men. But if we care about the long term, we've got to stop being cowards. We've got to stop being weenies. You got to stand up to the Karens. If you can't stand up to a Karen, a liberal Karen with the stupid horn-rimmed glasses and white hair, if you can't stand up to a Karen for your boys, how are you going to stand up to criminals, career criminals, psychopath, insane dreadlock-wearing, stinky black homeless men on these public transportation? How are you going to stand up to them if you can't stand up to liberal Karen? It's time to stand up, men, and be men. Be Daniel Penny. And Trump says it straight, right? There are evil people, and we have to confront that, right? Elon Musk says in slam dunk cases, we need expedited death penalties. No. Not true. Just put them behind bars and lock them up and throw away the key. And if they don't come out alive, if there's a Thunderdome inside there, then so be it. All right. The left has endless excuses. And I have no more patience for people who don't believe in Second Amendment rights, but there no quarter, no mercy for the people who say that we can't defend ourselves. That is the way to Britain. That's how you get the Scottish 12-year-old girls carrying a hatchet and a knife, afraid of being gang raped by migrant gangs. That's how you get a country like that. If you let the liberal women, the liberal Karens take over, if you let they who would destroy our nation take the ball from your children at the Phillies games, well, then you deserve what you get, right? When somebody was arguing terrorists with me yesterday, they were like, oh, you pass the cost on to your customers? Yes, you get the prices you deserve. You get the prices that you voted for. You get what you voted for. And Austin, you voted for Trump, so you got it good and hard. Hey, don't blame me for taking steps to save my ass, to go after to exploit these opportunities, like Donald Trump. He's like, what was it Dave Chappelle called him, an honest liar? He said, the game is rigged. The game is rigged. And Trump says, you know how? Because I've been playing the game, because I've been using it to my... You're going to get mad at Ayn Rand for collecting Social Security? They stole it from her whole life. What, you think I'm not going to import products from China? You think that I'm going to sit back and not take the opportunity that at the end of my life, I might be sitting on a yacht with a 250-pound swordfish hanging above my bed with my smoking hot, half-naked, redheaded libertarian wife and all my kids running around my little cruiser? You think that I'm not going to take a chance to make something like that happen? Because, I don't want to import products from China. I got 80 years to make it happen. My patriotic duty. What's your patriotic duty to learn economics? And you didn't learn economics, you stupid idiot. You think I'm going to submit to your concept of patriotism because you couldn't take the time to read Adam Smith or Frederick Bastiat? You can't do that? No, F you. Your patriotic duty as an American is to read a freaking textbook. It's basic economics. Thomas Sowell, you know all those memes that you guys are all sharing? I say you, I'm not yelling at you, the audience. I'm yelling at the royal you, right? You guys who watch Wake Up America show, you probably... I'm not yelling at you. It's the royal you. You think I'm just going to sit back? I won't. We've got 5 minutes left in 5. Oh my God, the show is flying by. Okay, Austin, stop ranting. We got lots of rants to go. I have a Churchill style rant at the end of the show today. We got 2 guests back to back. I'm not going to have time to yell at you guys to unlock the bonus content. We've raised 25 out of the $100 goal. Guys, if you haven't yet, go buy the AI course, because after today, the price goes up and it's going to be $200 for the course. Okay, so go unlock the bonus content by just going to the shop, signing up for your stinking course, becoming an AI master. You'll start as a Padawan, but then you shall become the master. We'll be right back with Mark Ludwig, America's for Equal Share Parenting. It's the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Yadam.
tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian, and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Thank you guys so much for your financial generosity. St. Selma says happy Tuesday. Thank you guys for working towards that bonus content. Once we hit $75, you'll unlock today's bonus content. And then at $100, we will have the Phillies Karen on the Wake Up America show. So keep those Rumble rants coming. Or my recommendation, head over to the Liberty Shop this morning and get yourself the AI course for creators. If you want to learn how to use AI, whether it's for business, whether it's for creating images, memes, videos, sign up for my online course and I will teach you all my secrets, and I hope that you will enjoy it. If you unlock it during the show, or if you buy it during the show, that will unlock our bonus content. All right, guys, joining me now is the founder of Americans for Equal Shared Parenting. He's a Missouri native. He's one of the engines behind the movement to make 50-50 custody the default. He's headed to Speaker Mike Johnson's office soon to talk about a national push. Kentucky made shared custody the standard in 2018, and their state saw a big drop in divorce, with more dads present and kids getting time with both parents. Critics are saying there's all these red flag cases and exceptions. We're going to tackle both the wins and the safeguards in place. Joining us now, Mark Ludwig. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Austin. I appreciate it.
And congratulations on Kentucky. Mark, what happened there?
Kentucky was the first state in the country. A good friend of mine, Matt Hale, led the charge, worked his tail off to get that done. It was sort of breaking the 4-minute mile barrier for equal shared parenting across the country. But it was the first state to have what we call a 50-50 rebuttable presumption. For those that aren't legal scholars, that basically means a child should be presumed to have equal access to both parents. The word rebuttable means a judge still has judicial discretion. So if there are cases, the key is, are they proven cases of being unfit, unwilling, or unable? Then you would vary the schedule. But before you know any facts, when you walk into the courtroom, that child should be presumed to have equal access to both parents. You don't make one parent start at the 20-yard line to try and prove their case.
Well, why was it like that, Mark? Why do we even have to have this fight at all? What has been the legal status of fathers in our country until this started changing?
Well, and that's the challenge, and that's why I'm up here in Washington, D.C. this week, even though I have the Illinois Capitol behind me on my little screensaver here. But, there was a big push to get dads out of the homes. I remember my first job at Commerce Bank in St. Louis. One of the tellers was having a kid, and I remember the other tellers asking her, hey, are you going to get married? And her immediate response, she didn't even bat an eye. She was like, no way, I'm going to lose all my welfare benefits if we get married. And so that's what ended up happening. They ended up pushing the dads out of the home. And if you look at, and this isn't to invalidate the role of mothers, by the way, I'll fight just as hard for a mother as I will for a father, because I'm fighting for the kids. But unfortunately, the deck has been stacked against dads across the country. Nationwide, in 83% of the cases, the dad will be relegated to less than the custodial parent. And that's unhealthy. I believe God designed opposites to attract for a reason. Traditionally in a relationship, one tends to be more the nurturer, one tends to be more the disciplinarian. And even if they're not married, it doesn't matter. They still have that pull to the center when they're co-parenting. So to erase one of those parents out of a child's life is a very unhealthy way to raise a child.
But what if they're both non-binary, Mark? Then who gets custody?
That's right. We have a lot of that going on now.
Mark, we're glad to have you here. So Kentucky saw divorce fall after the reform. Causation or correlation?
Correlation, and that's the funny. The opposition tries to say, well, the reason it dropped is because women are afraid to file for divorce now, and they're just putting up with the abuse. It's not true, because domestic violence rates dropped as well. So not only did the divorce rates drop, but domestic violence rates dropped substantially, and that's why 50-50 is actually good, is for those cases. Right now, the courtrooms are so jammed up and so overloaded on the dockets, the judges don't have time for the serious cases that need looking at. So by clearing the courtrooms of 80% of the cases that don't need to be there, now the judge has times to look at those cases. Because my heart really does go out for people who are truly being abused. But my attitude is, then let's get the other cases out of the courtroom so the judge can look at your case.
Mark, what evidence should the skeptics to these proposals read? If you were trying to convince someone who was concerned about what you're advocating here, because they would be worried that women who are being abused are staying in the home so that they don't have to give half of the access to their fathers, they can be there full time to prevent their children from having a human shield from a dangerous husband.
Well, the statistics don't back that up. And once again, not what I'm going to say, I want to clarify, this is not to invalidate the role of mothers or women, and not to stereotype that all women are bad, but it's to disprove the theory that all men are bad. When you look at the statistics, the best situation for a child to be in is an intact married couple. But just barely behind that is a single father. Ironically, it drops substantially when you get to a single mother. So when you look at the fatherless statistics across the country, incarceration rates, high school dropout rates, school shootings, violent crime rates, teen pregnancy rates, 70 to 94% of every one of those statistics didn't come from a father raising the child. That came from a single mother raising the child. Now, like I said, it's not to put all mothers down, but you can't invalidate the role of fathers and claim that all fathers are abusive.
I'm speaking to Mark Ludwig this morning. He works for Americans for Equal Shared Parenting, founded this institution. He's been a tireless advocate for the rights of fathers and mothers, and he's getting ready to meet with Speaker of the House of Representatives Mike Johnson this morning. What's your message to him, Mark?
Yeah, I've been up here. I've made a lot of trips up here. There's two things that I'm working on. One is to help create a White House Council for boys and men. Right in D.C., there's 8 different offices and departments for women, but there's not a single one for men. And when you look at society, drive around St. Louis. I Uber in St. Louis, and I'll tell you what, North City, it's not a racial problem, it's a fatherless problem. So one of the things I'm working on is trying to get a White House Council for boys and men. And the other is what we call Title IV-D reform, which is the funding mechanism that's causing a lot of the problems at the state level for a lot of the shared parenting issues. But we are getting great reception up here. But yeah, I appreciate you accommodating my schedule. I found out last night that I have a meeting with the speaker in a little over an hour, and I've still got about a 40-minute ride to get into the city to get to that meeting.
So a White House Council for Men and Boys, and what other sort of initiatives would you expect could come out of an institution such as that?
Well, the big key is to start focusing on what can we do to bring fathers back in the household and to start making dad great again. To try and use a theme.
Make dads great again. I like it. If you don't have that as a hat, Mark, I can do that for you at my shop.
I literally just thought of that. I'm sure somebody else has thought of it. I just happen to think of it just now.
You shouldn't have given it to a guy who has a shop and knows how to make logos in 30 seconds. But please continue, Mark.
But, when I was growing up, Leave It to Beaver, the dad was the hero in the home, and the Brady Bunch, when I was growing up, the dad was the hero in the house. Nowadays, I challenge you to find any TV show where the dad isn't the butt of a joke or a big buffoon or some lazy guy sitting on a couch somewhere. And we've got to change that narrative right now and bring men and fathers back in. And the big challenge is now it's a generational problem. Because now we have a whole generation of boys that are becoming fathers, but they didn't have a father. So they don't know they never had a role model. And so we've really got to start having a sincere focus on that of what do we do to get men back in the homes and to really help fathers be the role model they need to be.
I love this. I think the audience does too. They're really cheering you on. They're saying,
I like the cheers there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's the live studio audience in my shoe closet here. We're speaking to Mark Ludwig from Americans for Equal Shared Parenting. He is in Washington, D.C. this morning. He's fighting for your right to party with your kids, at least half of the time. 2 Christmases, maybe 3. If there's no active protective order, but there is a pattern of credible allegations made in terms of domestic violence, what should a judge be able to do on day one, Mark, in your mind?
Well, and that's the key. It has to be some type of right now in most states across the country, all somebody has to do is throw out an allegation, and the judges, out of an abundance of caution, are going to say, we better keep that parent away from the child. And sadly, that's we call it the silver bullet in the shared parenting community because it's used so often. Matter of fact, it's used so often that we actually have on record a prosecuting attorney in a continuing education course for attorneys down in Texas, teaching them how to file protective orders to get the upper hand in a court battle and basically telling them that don't worry, in the family court arena, there's no repercussions for false allegations, so there won't be a problem. And so many attorneys now across the country, one of the first things they will ask a woman is, do you by any chance feel threatened? Do you by chance feel afraid? And it's almost as if they're coaching them to, I think I am afraid. And the sad thing is, there's serious cases out there where women really are getting abused, and those ones aren't being taken. And it's I call it the Jussie Smollett effect. After a while of hearing all these false ones, the next time one comes out, you're like, oh my gosh, that's probably a made up thing as well. And I have to wonder how many women are truly being abused because of the false allegations that are out there. So I have no problem if somebody's truly being abused. That's what we need the court system for. But you need something more substantiated than just an allegation before you just rip a child or a parent out of a child's life.
We're speaking of Mark Ludwig. He's for Americans for Equal Shared Parenting, 50-50 shared parenting. And he's talking to us now about some of the statistics. But, statistics in my research and valuation, the statistics show that people don't care about statistics, Mark. They care about anecdotes. So do you have an anecdote that you could potentially share a story with our audience? For example, maybe like a strong abuse of discretion that you've seen from a court since these laws passed. How would your model fix that story?
Well, across the country, I'm part of what I call the shared parenting community and a highly visible person in there, which is about 1.5 million people. And I get deluged every day I've already had 12 messages this morning between private messages and text messages of people saying, hey, it just happened to me. A lot of times you'll get a person who was the stay-at-home caregiver where the roles were reversed. The mother was a doctor or something. The dad was the stay-at-home, and then they show up to court. And all of a sudden, this father was okay to be a stay-at-home dad every day while the mom went to work, but somehow they enter a courtroom, and now the dad's relegated to an every other weekend visitor to that same child. And like I said, it shouldn't be that way. It should be the fact that, wait a minute, the dynamics change. The day after you get a divorce, you can no longer claim one person is the primary caregiver, one person is the primary income earner. You're both income earners now, and you're both caregivers. So the dynamic needs to change. And that's one thing I talk about too, not to get off on another topic, but with the child support calculations. The child support calculations are based on 2 parents in one house. Well, the dynamic changed. Now you have a second household. And so you can't expect those same 2 incomes to keep that same standard of living for the child in 2 different houses. If I have a mortgage and that bedroom is only used 4 days a month, I can't go to the mortgage company and say, hey, you know what? My bedroom's only used 4 days a month. Can I get a break on my mortgage for that portion of the bedroom? And so right now they do per capita instead of the marginal cost. So they'll say half of the heating cost of the primary home, half of the air conditioning cost, half of the car. Well, if you already have a car, the marginal cost for that child is the extra tank of gas for all the activities. It's not half of the cost of the car. You were going to have the car anyway. You were going to have the home anyway. You were already going to set the thermostat at 70 degrees. So you may change the temperature by 2 or 3 degrees based on the fact that it's an infant and you need to keep the home a little warmer in the wintertime. But you're not going to take half of that cost and allocate that to the person paying child support. And sadly, that's what it's come about in many cases and that's why I'm up here in D.C. Title 4D of the Social Security Act. It's become a funding mechanism for states right now. It's a cash for kids, if you will.
Mark, talk to us about the psychosocial aspect of this. As a society, how have we gotten here? I mean, it feels to me, and maybe you can confirm or affirm it, perhaps maybe I have a bias and you can reveal it. It feels to me, especially ever since the Me Too movement got kicked up into high gear, that our culture and our society seeks to denigrate men. It appears to do so in the mainstream media. If you watch commercials, we are always depicted as stupid, as careless, as useless. And that we have been treated in family courts in a way that corresponds, absolutely corresponds with how we as a society look at and view men. Would you say that I'm onto something, or am I off base?
I 100% agree. There's no doubt in my mind. There's been a war on families for about the last 50 years. And the easiest way to break up the family is kick the dad out of the house. If you kick the dad out of the house, then you get the family dependent on the government. With dad's in the house, dad's the provider, dad's the disciplinarian. But you get dad out of the house, and now you need big brother government to come into your lives, and they'll solve all your problems. They're going to be able to figure out how to, take care of your bills for you. They're going to tell you how to discipline your kids. They're going to tell you everything. So the
and government acts as daddy, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's it. And that's what's happened over the last 40, 50 years. And the easiest way is in the family court system, kick dad out of the house. And that's why, too, we're getting this, there's all the talk I just saw yesterday on Fox News about the declining birth rates. Well, I'll tell you a big reason for the declining birth rates. A lot of the guys out there say, hey, I've seen what happened to my best friend when he had a kid. I don't want to have a kid and go through the family court system.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you don't really think about in your life until you have a child. And a lot of times it's ex post facto, after the fact. A lot of men find themselves in situations that they never thought I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of dads that look like they just got completely sideswiped, destroyed by the court system, and they had no idea what they were walking into, Mark. So for the dads exclusive, you've done a good job being very even-handed this morning, but talk to the dads out there right now who are hearing your message, looking at their kids and wondering, and maybe they're having marital problems, and maybe they're actually a little afraid when they hear what you have to say. Well, speak directly to them, Mark, for your final send-off, and then we got to let you go.
Yeah, and I was one of those dads who was blindsided. I mean, I was one of those people who was raised that the family court system is fair, that courts in America, we've got the best system in the world. And I was just absolutely shocked when I walked out of there to a guardian ad litem who said, I believe all kids are better off with their mother. And I'm thinking, all kids? That's pretty absolute there. Mm-hmm. But for most guys, I remember night after night sitting on my couch just feeling so alone and isolated. So for the dads who are going through a family court system, my thing to you is don't do what I did. I isolated. I quit every club organization that I was a part of, and I became a recluse, and you get very depressed. And sadly, the suicide rate for single fathers is off the chart. They talk about the fact that there's 22 suicides a day for military veterans. What they don't mention is 14 of those 22 suicides a day have been through a family court situation where they served our country. They came back to find out that the wife had packed up and left and taken the kids. So all I can tell you is if you're going through the situation, please reach out. Find a church, find some friends, find somebody that you can stay in contact with. There's a lot of great online organizations. Follow my personal page on Facebook. There's a lot of other great groups out there. There's National Parents Organization, the Father's Rights Movement, the Unmarried Father. A lot of great pages on social media to help keep you connected.
Mark, and if they want to get a hold of you, they should reach out to you through your Facebook page, correct?
Yeah, either Facebook or I do have a training company now teaching people how to get involved legislatively. It's stlmarkludwig.com, STL for St. Louis. So stlmarkludwig.com. And there's a whole training system that I have set up to teach people how to do what I do if they want to make a change in their state.
Mark, you make me proud to be an American. I'm really thankful.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful that we've got you out there in Washington, D.C. fighting this fight. So good luck, or as we say in my industry, break a leg with your meeting with Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. I hope that you get your White House Council for Men and Boys. We wish you all the best success in the world, and thank you for your great interview. We appreciate you very much.
All right. Thanks again, Austin. Appreciate you, bud.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. What did you guys think of Mark Ludwig? Guys, where else are you going to get interviews like this? The Wake Up America show brings you the best guests. That's a topic. That's a news story that's about to hit. You're going to read something like that in the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal or Fox News, or somebody's going to be covering that story in the legacy media later today. They'll be lucky if they get Mark Ludwig. They'll probably just have Speaker Mike Johnson on there to talk about it because he's easy to book, and they may not know. They may not be. The producers will be too lazy to go and find the real person in the story. But guess who gets the real person in the story? Gets them to you live right here. It's the Wake Up America show. Are we having a great time today? Have we clicked the like button, guys? Have we unlocked the bonus content yet? Oh no. No, we haven't. What have we raised, kids? $37 raised towards the bonus content. That's pretty good. We're getting there. Once we hit $75, that will unlock the first phase of the bonus content. If we hit $100 raised, that will unlock Breakfast Theater. We have booked, talking about incredible bookings. Everybody in the country is looking for the Phillies Karen. Everybody in this country wants to know who was the Karen that took the baseball away from the boy. Now, some of you, unless you haven't been living under a rock, most of you have seen this video at this point where this woman came over, screamed in this family's face, and asked for the ball back. But if you haven't seen it, here's the video.
Oh, she can't believe it. Whoa.
Easy.
This was filmed with a potato.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, God, that was such a terrible version of this.
Whoa.
This one here says, from Pro Baseball Insights, they said that the father who quickly surrendered to the Karen should apologize to his son. Karens are bullies who use their female entitlement to bully others. Tell them no when they make demands. Ladies are really mad at us this morning for this show. Sorry, ladies. Sorry, ladies. But we will have, speaking of negative female characteristic descriptions, we will have the Phillies Karen on the show, but only if we raise $100.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
No, that is not communist, Norm McDonald. That is pure capitalist right here. So,
can you bless me with something?
Oh gosh.
Please.
Can you suck it?
What? Wouldn't you rather watch the mini documentary than the commercials before we go to Camellia Peterson, who will be joining us live in less than 10 minutes? Oh man, this is a rough show for the ladies today. I feel sorry. Joni, Amy J. Easley, you ladies, you are saints. Cecilia, you are saints sitting through today's show, because the next topic that we're going to talk about with Camellia Peterson is another doozy, but she's got a lot to say. Camellia is going to share with us her thoughts on a new NBC poll that came out showing the differing priorities of men and women. NBC News poll, and what it showed A new NBC News Decision poll on Gen Z shows a massive divide in what young Americans define as success. Among men who voted for Trump, the top markers: having kids, financial independence, marriage. Among women who voted for Harris, the priorities are career fulfillment, lifestyle spending money, and emotional stability. Oh, God. It's really rough. We're glad to have people joining us live this morning on places over on X, but the real party's on Rumble. Rumble supports the For Liberty Network and the Wake Up America show, and so should you. Head on over to rumble.com/AP4Liberty if you want to participate in the live chat. We'd love to have you be there with us, and that is the place where we have our community, and that's where we are growing our show. We'd love to have you be a regular guest over there. Rumble.com/AP4Liberty. Again, one more time, rumble.com/AP4Liberty, the number 4 Liberty. So we're going to go to commercial break right now. Don't go away. We are going to come back with Camellia. We're going to talk about that NBC poll, and I hit the wrong button. That's the intro. That's the outro. Get it together, Peterson. And don't forget, too, after Camellia, I have a Winston Churchillian speech for Javier Milei and the people of Argentina. Spread the word in Buenos Aires. AP at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. Whatever time it is down in South America, and you got to hear this, and we'll have to translate it in Spanish later anyway. We'll be right back.
Here at Alligator Alcatraz, the fence keeps them in. But slip up, and you're on my plate.
Looks like breakfast is making a run for it. We got 3 hot meals trying to check out early from Alligator Alcatraz.
They can splash, they can sprint, but there's no escaping Alligator Alcatraz. Caught 2. The third? Huh. The swamp's got its own way of catching runaways.
Mama was wrong. Gators don't need toothbrushes. Just an honest job making America great again.
This summer isn't about sunscreen and safe spaces. It's about liberty, laughs, and looking like a red, white, and righteous badass. Welcome to the Summer of Freedom collection. Beach towels bold enough to trigger a liberal arts professor. Tank tops louder than a 4th of July fireworks finale. And mugs that scream, "Don't tread on my caffeine." Whether you're storming the sandbar or just grilling like George Washington with a Bluetooth speaker, this is the gear that lets everyone know. You're not here to play woke. You're here to play cornhole with conviction. So crack open a cold one, fire up the freedom, and rock the merch that makes communists cry. The Summer of Freedom is here, and it's absolutely unapologetic. Patriots, listen up. The sun's out, the shades are on, and the Gulf of America is wide open for business. This summer, don't show up to the beach looking like a landlocked liberal. Gear up with the Gulf of America collection. Towels, tumblers, shirts, hats, fanny packs, because nothing says freedom like cannonballing into liberty with style. Whether you're grilling burgers, catching waves, or just flexing on social media, do it draped in stars, stripes, and pure American greatness. The Gulf of America isn't just a place, it's a lifestyle. Hit forlibertyshop.com and roll into summer like the Founding Fathers just handed you the keys to the coast. Beaches, BBQs, and bald eagles approved. You should too. Head over to forlibertyshop.com and get your Gulf of America gear. Summer is coming fast. That's forlibertyshop.com. Imagine bringing George Washington back to life. Just to explain that in 2025, men can get pregnant, waving an American flag might offend someone, and our government is $34 trillion in debt. But that's not all, George. We have drag queen story hour for toddlers. Pronouns are mandatory. And Harvard can't define woman. Oh. And we send billions to Ukraine but can't fix potholes in Ohio. You know, just normal modern empire stuff. I'm sure he'd be totally cool with it. Right after he finishes reloading. He didn't cross the Delaware for this nonsense, but you can carry on the fight with gear that would have made King George cry. Shop bold, shop free, shop4libertyshop.com.
Really, over the weekend, Elon Musk, Charlie Kirk, other Trump-aligned figures succeeded in making this senseless death a symbol of big city crime. We heard President Trump asked about it yesterday when he was heading home from New York City. He didn't seem to know much about it. He said he would get briefed, and then today, Trump did know all about it. That's exactly what has happened here. This story has trickled up from local news to social media and now to the president's attention. And it's being used, as you said, Brianna, as a political symbol, with MAGA media calling for more forceful punishments and more incarceration. I have to say, some of the replies to Musk, some of the comments around this story are baldly racist, stoking fear of African Americans because this man attacked a white woman. The open racism on sites like X today, it's eye-popping. But there are also legitimate questions about this so-called career criminal, someone who had been a repeat offender. And those questions, I hope they're not lost amid all of the cesspool kind of comments on social media.
It is really sad. And I hate that it is the truth that if Iryna Zarutska was a racist, she'd still be alive. Very sad. Democrats really need to stop making those situations be the case. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. We're glad and thankful to have you here. It's 7:59 a.m. Central Time here in Central Missouri, 57 degrees in Jefferson City. Glad and thankful to have all of our guests joining us live. Click the like button if you haven't already. And if today's your first time watching the Wake Up America show, click the follow button as well. If you're watching us anywhere but Rumble, you should be at rumble.com/AP for Liberty, where you can click the like button and the follow button. We'd be glad to have you be a regular guest. A new NBC News decision poll on Gen Z shows a massive divide between what Americans define as success. Among men who voted for Donald Trump, the top markers for success are having kids, financial independence, and marriage. That sounds wonderful. Sounds like great, all good things. Among women who voted for Harris, the priorities are career fulfillment, lifestyle, spending money, and emotional stability. What does that tell us about the cultural split in America's youngest adult generation? Joining us live right now to discuss it is Camellia Peterson. She looks like a lovely young adult, doesn't she? It's that Zoom filter that they have. It's the automatic filter that makes you look great, isn't it? Hi,
yes,
CJ.
Right. Good morning. I'll take all the help I can get.
You got triggered yesterday, CJ, when this poll dropped. You were like, this data's all over the place. They didn't lay it out right. Spitting venom. Okay, so tell us, oh wise Cobra, why are you spitting venom over this poll?
Well, I think that, they put this out, and the first thing is like they're comparing Trump men to Harris women. Like, why? Like, to begin with, I mean, was it NBC or ABC that did this? NBC, right? Yeah. NBC. And so, I mean, there is that's intentional, right? I mean, they're trying to draw that contrast. Right. So, but the thing is that is more interesting to me. And so I pasted this, by the way, on your X comments for the show today, where I laid out, I mean, they even had the responses all in different orders. So they kind of made it hard to really compare the different categories to it. So because I'm a little obsessive about this stuff, I laid it out myself and put the Trump women and Harris women side by side and the Trump men and the Harris men. But, for all the rhetoric about, the having children and being married, the interesting things to me were that, financial independence was really in the top 3 for everyone, but highest for Trump voting women. So I guess that stuck out to me because there's all of this, there's been these stories that we've talked about where, the women on the right are, as far as the trad cons are kind of saying they can have it all. You can have your career, you can have your kids, like you can have all of these things. But there's also a double standard that's been had because, it seems like anyway, the men are over here saying we want the women to be traditional and to stay at home. But, financial independence is seemingly from this less important to the men than it is to the women. And I think that there are some definite reasons for that. I think that you find, especially, and whether it's the outcome of feminism and more women in the workplace, like whatever you want to attribute it to, I think that it is true that you have a lot of women who have come to realize that they have to be financially independent, even if they are married, because it is not an insignificant number of men who do not manage their money well. And so if you're a woman and you do the traditional route of, you maybe do your career for a little bit, you get married, you stay at home, and you're out of the workforce for a long time. If you do not marry a man who can manage his money well, you're SOL, right? I mean, and you sacrifice, all of this, your own financial independence in order to do this. And so you get stuck with this. And then if it, if it comes down to a divorce or whatever it is, you're starting over. So I think that women, this has become increasingly important to women. And also it's probably also more important to women too, just because of the, male female differences in women being more risk averse.
So women should get more and men should get less.
No,
because men aren't going to be able to achieve their goals of having kids, having family, having marriage, if women don't give up at least some semblance of job security for themselves, right? That they can hold on to if for some reason their husband dies or leaves them, the worst should happen. It's almost as if you have to take some risk and getting into a marriage, and that women have been told that you should have it all and you can't have it all, and you shouldn't be able, there should be no risk. You should be put yourself in a situation, and then they make more money than their husbands, and then they disrespect them, and then they cheat on them. Is this the cycle that we're supposed to follow? Are men really supposed to put up with this shit forever, Camellia, and pretend as if it's not a raw deal? Really, for both of us, because it's really a raw deal for both of us.
Sure.
I mean, do you really want to work, Camellia? Do you really? Let me ask you something, Camellia. Be honest. Do you really want to work?
I mean, yes. I
am one of your best friends, and you're looking at me right now through this camera lens. You're telling me right now that if you met a handsome, literary, he does beat poetry, and he campaigns for liberty, and he's a wealthy yacht billionaire, you would fight to come back to Missouri so you could crisscross the state and bust your ass running booths?
I would be happy to be a kept woman.
I think so. I think I knew what I was talking about. So it's just a matter of the men don't make enough money anymore then. So it's not a principle. We've gotten rid of the principle of the thing. It's about that they don't make enough money.
So yes and no. I do think now.
Let's focus on the yes. Let's focus on the yes.
Remember the age range that we're talking about here. We're talking about Gen Z adults 18 to 29. And so this is a slightly different generation than what you and I are often referring to. But here's something, though, that, in the favor of conservative men that really leaps out on this, that I think really speaks to the Gen Z desire to go more traditional in a lot of ways, as far as men goes, and that they were the highest in rating having children as being, part of the definition of success. Because remember, for everybody watching, the basis of this poll was that they gave all of these options to the participants, and they had to choose 3 out of all of these that they felt like were important to the definition of success in their life. So we're talking about things like financial independence, having a fulfilling job or career, being married, having children, having money to do the things you want, owning your own home, being spiritually grounded, making your family and community proud, having no debt, using your talents and resources to help others, able to retire early and having emotional stability. And you know what? Something that I thought was really interesting, especially for Gen Z, that the lowest rated by a long shot was being able to retire early. And so I actually think that would have been very different if this poll had been done, 30, 40 years ago for boomers, right? I think because, that was kind of the thing for the boomer generation, was that you work, you put your time in, and the goal was to be able to retire early and enjoy your retirement, right?
How are men supposed to have a serious conversation with women who put one of their top 3 priorities, their emotional stability? I mean, how am I supposed to look a woman in the face when she tells me something like that and say, "Oh, I should not treat you like a child"? How do I do it? Help me, Camellia. Talk me through it.
Sure, I know.
Tell me how to talk to someone as if they're an adult when they say something like that to you.
And this is a stark difference between women who are Trump voters and women who are Harris voters. I mean, 39% of Harris voters and women put this in their top 3 as important to the definition of success.
But there's more of them than you. There's more of them than you. So I'm more likely.
This is probably true.
Statistically,
yes.
I'm going to run into them more than I'm going to run into you. So how am I supposed to have a serious conversation with women like that?
That is difficult. I guess
because if I start treating them like the child that they are, then women like you get mad at me, and the females all circle the wagons. How dare you speak to her that way? No, you know she's a moron too. Yeah, but vagina power, the cult of the golden sacred vagina, right? How are we supposed to deal with that, Camellia, in a serious way? As serious as the hat I'm wearing right now.
Harris men. Yeah. I just now noticing that.
Available at the Griff Shop at thegriffshop.com.
Oh my gosh. Well,
how am I supposed to take you seriously, he said as he waved his finger wearing that hat.
Well, I guess don't listen to the red pill community is what you don't do, because doing that will not, with the Harris women, will not lead you to the goal of being married and having children, which seems to be pretty darn important to Trump men, who actually rated the having children 5 points higher. I mean, 5 points of, percentage points of them rated having children higher than being married. So there might be some things behind that too.
But how did we get, I know that you're saying don't compare apples and oranges and things like that, but we're all Americans. We're all living in this country, right? And if liberal women outnumber conservative women, then if men do want to get married and have kids, then at some point there's going to have to be kind of a political compromise in some ways. And underneath that scenario, then men have to, we have to put up with some of these problems. We have to deal with some of these problems because they're just, I would venture a guess, you tell me if I'm being unfair, that the percentage of Trump reporting, Trump voting women, that a large, I will say 51% are really feminists. They still do not adhere to traditional marriage. So and now men actually are the ones who want kids and women don't. And I think that probably a slight majority of Trump voting women, Camellia, who you can't say that they're all non-feminist, trad wife, conservative traditionalists. Right. They're not.
Right. No, I agree. And the thing is the comparison with Trump men and Trump women is that in having children, 34% of men put that in their top 3, and only 26% of Trump voting women put that in their top 3. So there is a disparity there that I think, puts us in a quandary for this next generation. And I don't know that there is an answer for this. I think that it is going to be that women are going to have to, if they want to be with someone, I think, one of two things is going to happen. Women are going to either have to, change their outlook on things, or men are going to have to lower their standards in order to.
We're going to have to start dating the essential oils chicks because, even though she thinks thimerosal in vaccines causes autism and that 9/11 is an inside job, at least she voted for Donald Trump, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Even though she's queer for Palestine.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I guess on the positive side, people in that category are going to self-select in terms of
they're all
what
like
your
Greta
options are going to be.
Thunbergs.
Yes. But it is, and I think the thing that you can also take away from this is that there is a very real worldview difference between the average Harris voter and the average Trump voter. And, whether or not you want to call this left versus right. And they did actually a fairly large sample size in this poll. So I think this is probably fairly accurate in terms of this. But, Harris men and women both were high when it comes to the importance of emotional stability and in things like, and low, in things like having children. I mean, the having children part is probably the most disturbing. I don't know that a lot of kids who are, 18, 19 years old are thinking about having children. I think that that's actually fairly unusual. But, in that 18 to 29-year-old range for having children for Harris women, it was 6%, and for the men, it was 9%. And that is vastly different from the 26 and 34% of the Trump voters. I guess the good news is for the future generation that clearly Trump voters are going to out-procreate the Harris voters. So there is a silver lining to this. But I do agree it makes it challenging for men in terms of finding women who share their values because we are seeing, and I think this is the direct backlash of the effects of feminism, we are seeing a lot of young men go much more traditional and conservative. And so we're in a little bit of a quandary with this, and I don't think that there's any great answer.
I've been enjoying the TikTok reels and Instagram reels videos of the suffering of young women who are coming out and saying, he was a Trump supporter, and they're like they're going on dates with these guys, and I'm like, he sounds based and red-pilled. And because these young women, they run to TikTok to cry for whatever reason. And I value their emotional stability as well. So whatever the drugs that you need to go get from the psychiatrist, I fully support them going to get. It's just sad. It's just sad.
Let's have a little thought. I know. Let's have a little thought though for the women who, voted for Trump, but they're probably not as likely as the men to be as sycophantic about the politicians that they follow.
Good point. Well, I don't know about that. There's plenty of Patriot Barbies out there.
Well, yeah, that's true too. I don't know that there are as many of them, but yeah, there's anyway.
Who are your favorite? Who are your favorite female politicians? Oh shit! Did I just ask?
Yeah, I know.
Did I just ask Camellia right now inside of her head? Camellia, name your number one top living, active American female politician and go.
Gosh. Okay. So the two that I guess come to mind first lately have been, I still like Winsome Sears. I like her approach to things. I also I've liked Cynthia Loomis, although I haven't seen as much out of her lately. I like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I like her more now than I did before. I still don't particularly care for her style.
Is that the one with the bitch made bulky butch body or whatever it is?
Oh gosh, forgot about that.
Oh god, if people are not having a good time over the chat, I don't know what's wrong with them. We lost like 20 viewers, but it's probably because they didn't know what my hat said either, and then when I pointed it out, they all left. Ashley Ann says, everybody scream Thatcher. Thatcher's dead. Margaret Thatcher is dead.
She would have been my top one, but yeah, she did not fit the criteria.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite female politician is Anna Paulina Luna, but not because of her policies. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez number 2, but not because of her policies.
Well, this is what's wrong with, voters today, right?
It is. It absolutely is what's wrong with voters today. And but I don't vote with that thing. I vote with my head. We're speaking, Camellia Peterson joining us live here on the Wake Up America show. As you can see, we are good friends. And so we give each other a hard time and we make jokes, sometimes at each other's expense, and that's fine. Don't forget to click the like button if you haven't already. Keep those Rumble rants coming. We're almost towards the first phase of the bonus content. After this is over, we're going to talk about what's going on with Javier Milei in Argentina, the electoral setback that they faced yesterday in Buenos Aires. I have a Winston Churchillian style speech that I will be giving to the people of Argentina. If you're going through hell, keep going. Camellia, do you have any opinion on the Charlotte, North Carolina train attack? Is it true that if that woman who was killed, Iryna Zarutska, if she was a racist, she would still be alive?
I mean, why? Oh, you mean because well, I don't know. I mean,
that's a tough question. Because I don't think I like the answer to that question, but I think I know what the answer to that question is. And if you'd like to keep your job, then you don't have to answer that question. But I want everybody to think about it for a moment. But even if the answer to that question is yes, then we have to ask ourselves how we got to a situation where that answer was yes. And I think I know who's really ultimately responsible for the death of that girl. What about you?
I think this is what we see with so many problems in society with how we have dealt with not only our justice system, but also our mental health, the way we deal with mental health. And there, like this, from what I understand, like this man should have not been on the streets to begin with. So, I think that there's failures all across the spectrum in terms of how we get to this point. And we get to this point, too, because political correctness has ruled the day for so long that we have people like this who are walking around unchecked because for fear of offending someone in terms of how we diagnose mental illness. And I just, we talked about this not too long ago. I think we are seeing the swing back towards people saying, look, maybe we made some mistakes in how we reacted to, the negative things as far as institutions and things like that.
Camellia Peterson, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience before we let you go today?
I almost forgot, but I need to tell you, I walked into my hotel here in Jefferson City last night because I'm here for veto session, special session. And by the way, they do an annual thing where they roast somebody in the legislature. And last night they roasted
Cindy O'Loughlin.
Yes, the leader of the Senate. And so that was quite entertaining, although several people decided that next year they should probably, we're going to have a grassroots roast of Camellia.
Yeah. So guess who would be the best number one person to do that? Yes, I think that'd be a great idea. But you don't even need it because we roast you every week, every Tuesday, Thursday to 8 a.m. Central right here on the Wake Up America show, don't we?
I walked into my hotel last night, and the lady at the desk who was getting ready to leave, she works here, and she looked at me and she looked at my name and she was like, Camellia, she was like, did you used to be on Austin's show? It's like, I still am. She's like, oh, he's still. So she was remembering you and I both from the radio days. And so it was funny. She was asking if you and Hal were still into Bitcoin and if you made out really good with all of that. Anyway, it was just so funny finding, a listener in the wild.
Yeah, I know. We got to get the boomers off of the radio and get them over here to the podcast. This is where it's all going anyway. So I think what I need to do is I need to raise up the scratch so that we can put a billboard here in Jefferson City saying, I'm still here.
Yes. I told her you have a 5-day-a-week show in the morning now and told her what it was. So anyway,
thank you very much. Yeah, hopefully she's here. She joins us. She's probably mad at me, but she probably likes you even more. That was my plan the whole time. Camellia Peterson, follow her over on X at Rare Camellia. And we love you, Camellia. We'll see you on Thursday, okay?
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
was just stabbing for fun, and I didn't expect him to be so fragile.
The woman burst into laughter in court, insisting on her innocence and even mocking the victim's father, appearing smug about her actions. However, the judge's verdict quickly put an end to her laughter. In June 2024, the woman Ellis stole a knife from a nearby secondhand store and then entered a supermarket. As the victim's mother and young son were walking toward the parking lot after finishing their shopping, Ellis followed them into the parking lot and brutally stabbed Julian multiple times while he was sitting in the shopping cart. The mother tried to pull the child out and was also injured. The victim's father emotionally pleaded in court for her to be sentenced to life in prison without parole, calling her a monster. Ellis remained unrepentant, insisting she was innocent and would soon be released on bail. She then stared into the camera, swaying her body from side to side and raising her eyebrows in a mocking expression. But the judge's ruling made her smile disappear instantly. The judge stated that Ellis could face life imprisonment or the death penalty and increased her bail from $1 million to $5 million, effectively eliminating any possibility of her release. Upon hearing the verdict, Ellis's face turned pale and her smile vanished completely. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
Unbelievable. It's a terrible crime committed by someone unrepentant. How long are we going to put up with this? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send us a text at 573-319-1586. If you watch the live show, you can see it on your screen, but what you should do is program it into your phone. Again, that phone line, I say again, for those who are just listening to the audio version, is 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586.
Voters once they called attention to it.
So certain people have been looking for an opportunity to find a case like this, to make a point like this. I want to play, this is Charlie Kirk, why he says this hasn't gotten a lot of attention.
A white Ukrainian refugee was murdered just because she was white. Everybody knows that, obviously. If a random white person simply walked up to and stabbed a nice, law-abiding black person for no reason, it would be an apocalyptically huge national story used to impose national sweeping political changes on the whole country. Instead, Megan Basham, no one seems to care when a white woman gets stabbed to the death.
Wow. He said white a lot.
Well, we are talking about it here, so I guess I mean, I don't think that's fair. Look, being in the system, because I have represented people who are mentally ill, and here's the balance. The balance is taking away people's freedom versus evaluating their mental illness. And New York City, there are a lot of programs for people who are mentally ill, but they have to want to be there.
Yeah, and it's
about forcing them to be there.
When you are mentally ill, you have a hard time knowing that you are mentally ill. But also, I mean, people like Charlie Kirk.
That's not true, because literally every person that I speak to these days in the wild, they're all mentally ill. They've all got ADHD, they've all got OCD. Everybody is diagnosing themselves. So I'm supposed to, and you know why? It's so that they can get off the hook, like that lady. I'm sure that lady who stabbed that child to death, she probably had a screw loose, but I'm sure she was probably acting like she was crazier than she actually was, so that she could get off on bail and continue to commit the kinds of crimes that people like her commit. So it is a scenario where, like this CNN panel, where everybody out there claims some form of mental illness. So that they can claim privilege, they can get a sense of privilege amongst people. Oh, I'm OCD, I'm ADHD. Oh, we'll take it easy on you. Okay, well, we'll take it easy. How about I treat you all like you're mentally ill. If you're all mentally ill, no offense, nobody is. Nobody is. Maybe you're all liars. I say you, but it's a royal you. And are there people with genuine mental health issues? Yes. Right. But half of the people, and probably more, that tell you that there's something, they probably aren't.
Fan. They've been looking for opportunities to make this some sort of like reciprocal George Floyd situation. And that's the part that I think he's almost giving away the game. And it's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
Let me just say a couple of things. One is, what happened to that young woman was horrible. And it's everybody's nightmare. If you're in any public space, a subway, whatever, that something bad's going to happen to you or somebody you care about. So it does strike a chord. We don't know why that man did what he did. And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering. It's wrong. Then he says that if something like that had happened the other way, there would be sweeping changes imposed on society.
He's right.
Where is the George Floyd Policing Act?
Not that. Oh my God. So please, like, you're telling me there wouldn't be riots in the street.
It didn't pass. Even when you had a white police officer murder a black man on live television, the whole world saw, there were no sweeping changes. In fact, not one law was passed at the federal level. So I think that's an important thing to point out. The other thing is, you mentioned the thing about cashless bail. I think this is a big challenge that we have. Would you have felt better if there had been cash bail and the mom had come and put down $1,000 to let him out? It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible.
Yeah, we do know how to deal with them, just like Daniel Penny did on the train. That is how we deal with these people out in public. Your thoughts on that, you can send them as a text. We are at $38 raised towards the bonus goal. It doesn't look like we're going to make it today unless somebody just in the next 30 minutes goes and buys an AI course or makes the Rumble Rant donation that's necessary to get us from $38 to $75 or $100. If that does happen in the next 30 minutes, then I will play the bonus content for you, the mini documentary that we have produced for you. But if we hit $100, if we manage to do it somehow in the next 30 minutes, then we will also have the Phillies Karen, the one who stole the ball from the little boy at the Phillies game last weekend. We will have her on the show as well. I'm going to take a quick little commercial break. Unfortunately for you guys, that means commercials. Unlock that bonus content, guys. Either make the Rumble Rant donations. You can get the Eton Bush hat, a 1969 campaign, over at the Grift Shop at thegriftshop.com. Grab a box of coffee while you're there, or perhaps buy the AI course, AI Mastery. We'll be right back. It's the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate?
When the Founding Fathers dreamed of liberty, they forgot one thing: coffee. Introducing Founding Flavors Coffee, the brew that built America, and the brew that's fueling a new revolution, one kitchen at a time. Small batch roasted, Patriot approved, and disappearing faster than a red coat at Yorktown. Don't get left behind, soldier. Real patriots are starting their mornings with Founding Flavors. And trust us, freedom tastes better with a fresh cup in your hand. Stop drinking those tyrant brews who take your money and don't support your values. Stocks are limited, demand is booming, and your morning deserves a taste of liberty. Order now at forlibertyshop.com before the next shipment gets signed, sealed, and sold out. Founding Flavors Coffee, the official brew of morning rebellions everywhere. Get yours at forlibertyshop.com. Look, not all t-shirts are created equal. Some just sit there. Others start conversations. The ones at forlibertyshop.com, they raise eyebrows, win arguments, and occasionally get you banned from PTA meetings. Whether you're repping freedom, mocking tyrants, or just making the left squirm, we've got the gear that says what you're thinking. Loud, proud, unapologetic. Grab yours today at forlibertyshop.com because your shirt should speak louder than your neighbor's bumper sticker. Legend has it, back in 1773, a band of angry, overtaxed patriots stormed a British ship, found the king's favorite tea, and said, "This would taste better without the tyranny." Then they tossed it overboard. Fast forward to today. That revolutionary spirit lives on in Boston Harbor Black, the boldest brew in the Four Libert tea lineup. It's dark, it's smooth, it's unapologetically American, just like the folks who drink it. Whether you're sweetening it up on the front porch or drinking it straight like a Minuteman before battle, this isn't tea for royalty, it's tea for rebels. No fake flavors, no corporate slogans, just a cold glass of Don't Tread on Me in liquid form. So skip the woke iced tea aisle and stock up on Boston Harbor Black at forlibertyshop.com. Because when the heat's rising, the least you can do is drink like a patriot.
Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. Thank you so much for sticking around today and hanging out with us, even through the commercial breaks. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. They call me AP for Liberty. Click the like button if you haven't done so already. If today is your first time watching the Wake Up America show, this show is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. That is the show's schedule. So put it in your calendar, become a regular guest, and join us over in the Rumble community, where the comment section features such luminaries as Drew Van Ronkel, Saint Selma, Quest Fanning, Joni Rankin, Mighty Megatron, Amy J. Ease, and so many other friends of liberty. If you're tuning in here from South America and you happen to be bilingual, then I have for you a speech that I have written for you specifically to Javier Milei and his Libertad Avanza, Forces of Heaven in Argentina, which I will read to you right now. My friends, the eyes of liberty turned south to Argentina, a land rich in soil, in cattle, in people of passion and pride, a land that has suffered under the heels of socialism, corruption, and the endless appetite of the political caste. At long last, a lion has risen among the people of Argentina, Javier Milei, with his chainsaw held high, vowing to cut down the Leviathan state, to free his people from the prison of inflation, to restore dignity through honest money and free enterprise. But revolutions are never easy. Progress is not a given, and it is not a guarantee. It is earned, and it is paid for in pain and suffering. Today, markets tremble. The peso slips. Bonds are falling. Stocks sinking. Javier Milei's enemies, the Peronists, rejoice. They smell blood in the water. They say the reforms are failing. The experiment is over. The dream is dead. But I tell you now, it is not dead. It is tested. And tests are what make or break great nations. When Churchill told Britain, if you're going through hell, keep going, he knew what hell was. Bombs raining from the sky, cities in rumble. But he also knew that surrender would mean slavery. Argentina today is going through an economic hell, triple-digit inflation, hunger, job loss, foreign creditors circling like vultures. But hear me, there is only one way forward, and it is through. Milei has cut the deficit. He has beaten back inflation. He has taken the axe to corruption and clientelism, and millions have already escaped poverty because the parasites were cut off from their schemes. This is no small thing. This is the very definition of progress. Yet the Peronists, the dealers of despair, these merchants of dependency, the architects of failure, they want it all back. And they will fight every reform. They will block every bill if they can. And they will sabotage every step that you take because liberty threatens their racket. Freedom robs them of their power. To the people of Argentina who do listen to this show and who I care for deeply, I say this: do not lose heart. Do not mistake the turbulence of the moment for the verdict of history. Markets fall, currencies shake, governments stumble, but the cause of liberty endures if you endure with it. You've suffered a century of lies. You've seen your nation fall from one of the wealthiest on earth to a byword, a catchphrase for inflation and bankruptcy. You've buried your hopes under the rubble of Peronism. Do not give up now, when there is at last a leader who is telling you the truth, who shows you the chains and dares to cut them. Afuera! Afuera! Yes, it hurts what Javier Milei is doing. Yes, it is bitter medicine. But freedom is never cheap. It costs sweat and sacrifice and struggle. And those who stay the course reap the harvest. The choice between Argentina is stark. Return to the swamp of corruption or march through the fires of liberty. And so I say, fight them in the legislatures, fight them in the markets, fight them in the press, fight them at the ballot box, fight them in every alley, every street, every barrio, every province. Never yield, never falter, never surrender. Because the day will come when the chains are broken, when the markets open wide, when the jobs return, and when Argentina is again the shining land of the Pampas, a beacon of freedom in a darkened world. And when that day comes, you will say to your children, yes, it was hard. Yes, it was long, but we did not quit. We kept going through hell, and we came out free.
Wallace is 7 feet tall.
Yes, I've heard. Kills men by the hundred. And if he were here, he'd consume the English with fireballs from his eyes and bolts of lightning from his arse. I am William Wallace. And I see a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny. You've come to fight as free men. And free men you are. What will you do without freedom? Will you fight? Against that? No! We will run! And we will live. Aye. Fight and you may die. Run and you'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
I think we can end it there today, a little bit early. Don't be mad. We appreciate all that you guys do for us over at the Wake Up America show and our For Liberty Network. A brand new show coming this fall starring Mylan Salabaria. Keep an eye out for that, where we will cover more of those Latin American issues. We appreciate everyone who has been contributing financially. We did not unlock the bonus content today, and maybe there was a chance if I stayed on another 15 minutes live that I could do it. But we got a lot going on over here at our house, and I feel like that's a really good place to end it, don't you? I think so as well. Thank you for all you've done for us, guys. Thank you for all the rumble rants that we did get today. Unfortunately, we did not unlock phase 1 or phase 2 of the bonus content. Womp womp.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
But I do hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and we will be back here tomorrow with Judge Andrew Napolitano on our Wednesday show. And I think I have another special guest for you tomorrow on Wednesday. Oh, yes, I do. A special little treat. Look, I worked so hard for you guys. Oh, yeah. Phil Magnus is actually back on the show tomorrow. Look at me. Just busting my butt for you guys. And you don't even want an Eaton Bush hat. But if you do decide that you'd like to visit the Grift Shop on the way out, please do so. Exit through the Grift Shop at thegriftshop.com. That's thegriftshop.com. Grab yourself an Eaton Bush hat. And maybe sign up for our AI course. We started our live classes yesterday, but don't worry, you didn't miss anything. It will, everything's recorded, and it is as a part of the lesson plan. Yesterday's live session is already uploaded, so you guys can access it now if you're a member of the AI course. How do we join the AI course? You go over to the Grift Shop at thegriftshop.com, pinned to the top. You'll see the AI course. Sign up for it today. And when you do, you're going to get access to my curriculum, teach all the secrets of how I make all the magic happen over here at the For Liberty Network. How 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-person team can compete against giant agencies. Thank you, Amy J. Eves. Thank you, Dred Seamus, Decision Points, Drew Van Runkle, Quest Fanning, Joni Rankin, L Dubs, and all Nelson65 and all of our friends of Liberty over here. And we'll see you guys again here tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network.
Alligator Alcatraz, the fence keeps them in. But slip up, and you're on my plate.
Looks like breakfast is making a run for it. We got 3 hot meals trying to check out early from Alligator Alcatraz.
They can splash, they can sprint, but there's no escaping Alligator Alcatraz. Caught 2. The third? Huh. The swamp's got its own way of catching runaways.
Mama was wrong. Gators don't need toothbrushes. Just an honest job making America great again.